It's dropped back for Buchberger. Shoots, scores! Buchberger! The Oilers win it! An unbelievable comeback turned in this game by the Edmonton Oilers. And the captain wins it 9-15 of overtime.
So unless there's we find a way to share what's going on, unfortunately, hockey is a dead issue here in Canada.
Sather feels things are getting worse. This year, he and the Oilers may lose their star goalie.
We got a problem with Curtis Joseph. At the end of this season, he's going to be a free agent. You know, I've been trying to get him signed now for over a year. I've got to make a judgment on whether I keep Curtis throughout this whole year, this current year, or trade him. Well, if the American team wants Curtis bad enough, pay him whatever they want.
And a diving stop by Joseph keeps this game going. They don't come any closer than that.
Back in Edmonton, the airwaves are full of ideas about how to save the Oilers.
Assessment package together for the people of Edmonton so they could become
What we have are 15 people holding one or more units at this moment.
For the ordinary Joe in Edmonton, like Green Bay did with Packers. Yeah. Do something like that.
The National Football League's Green Bay Packers have made their fans feel the team belongs to them by selling them shares. But Cal Nichols would prefer to limit ownership of the Oilers.
Yeah, well, they did this in Florida with the Panthers, and also it's been done just most recently in Green Bay with their football team. The thing is, I would prefer not to do it to the third year because of the limited partnership.
Nichols feels limiting ownership will ultimately increase the value of the team. That is, if there still is a team here in 2 days.
You can write a check for about $10 million, and that'll do it. That's all we need. I'll come over and pick it up.
I mean, our chances of finding, 100 people with $100,000 to get the $10 million that we need in the next 2 days, don't like the chances of that. I mean, we don't want people going out and breaking the piggy bank and borrowing money to do this because we can't guarantee them a return.
Imperial's management team wishes to advise that we decline the opportunity to participate in your proposal for the naming of Northlands Coliseum. Best of luck with your venture.
Today there's bad news on the Petroleum Place front.
We need money.
None of the big money oil and gas boys seem interested.
The equity guys in this deal that are putting their own money up have to look at this and say, I'm going to risk my money and find that the biggest corporations in Alberta aren't interested in, in commercial support. I mean, that's got to send up a red flag. You got to say, well, it's, you know what, maybe this isn't the right place for NHL hockey team.
The smart money may have given up on the franchise, but Edmonton's hockey fans are doing everything they can to keep the team in town.
Molson's went $1 a dozen, we went a dime. We're small, that's what we can afford at this time. We will do over 2,000 dozen out of this store alone. Hopefully that will make a difference. I believe it would just be an utter shame that we lost the team.
We've been donating $1 from every 10 wings sold, our chicken wing sales, and so far we've have about $2,000 from that. Our 1998 All-Canadian Girls calendar, we've also donated $1 from that as well to go to the Save the Oiler Fund.
If you're in the States and you've got a team in trouble, you've got, for numbers, you got 100 people that can step in. Well, you're going to get somebody. In Edmonton, you got 10 people who can step in. Well, the odds aren't as good.
It'll be another Canadian team gone. You don't want that. You want to keep them here.
I mean, the Oilers Oilers sell out every game and they can't afford to be here, it's sad. It's very sad.
If Canadian junior hockey ever does manage to turn itself around, it'd be nice if there were some Canadian teams left to play for. Right now, it doesn't look as though Edmonton will be one of them.
Bob, it would be one of the most important contributions made. I mean, that would be the thing that could take this thing over the top. Well, on a standalone basis, $1 US a year.
That's better than nothing. So this is down to perhaps they stay, they go time. And I'm sitting at table number such and such, and if there's anybody there that could pitch in denominations of $1 million or more, come and see me quick. We're short somewhere around $10 million of equity, and I don't know where we're going to find it in 48 hours or less. But
for the local Oiler investment team, the countdown has now begun in earnest.
Jesus, if we could just get
48 hours left, and they still haven't raised the money.
With another half a dozen guys from around town, we'll get her made. And
local investors must know that in today's NHL, you can put a good team on the ice, fill every seat in the house, build a new arena, and still lose money.
If this issue was a Toronto issue, if the Toronto Maple Leafs were leaving Toronto on the same, under the same kinds of conditions and economic kind of duress, I'll tell you, they'd be lining up on Bay Street at King to say, well, what do we do to help? What can we do to help? And we got to fight and scratch and say, geez, we're out here 2,000 miles away, but we also have 5 Stanley Cup banners up there and a history and a legacy, and we need your help. And so far, it ain't working. So there's only one group of guys now that are going to make this call, and that's the guys that are going to be sitting around tonight till all hours, looking at each other and saying, are we going to go or not?
In the end, Cal Nichols has found not 1 or 2, but 35 local investors. At a cost of $1 to $5 million each, they are prepared to make a leap of faith.
what we tried to do is sell it on the basis of community first motives as opposed to for profit. And I like to refer to the group that we have brought together as really the blue-collar millionaires of this market, because many of them, they just are people who worked hard, got in the trenches, rolled up their sleeves, and have been very, very successful in manufacturing and distribution and in some of the oil field supply companies. So there's not anybody in this group that are junk bond dealers or a lot of major corporations. These are really grassroots millionaires that are participating in this project.
I think the plan is to keep it here forever. Small market, make it work in a small market. And I think if we can make it work here, we'll set a real precedent for Canada, for Canadian hockey. And we really, it's part of our culture and our heritage. So let's keep her here.
Okay, is everybody ready?
Edmonton's hockey community has been forced to choose between good business sense and its heart. Unable to see the team go the way of Winnipeg and Quebec, the community has come down on the side of its heart.
So we're just waiting now.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I would like first to thank you all for coming and being with us. This is going to be a great day for Edmonton. As of this afternoon, the Edmonton Investors Group delivered an offer and the required deposit to purchase the Edmonton Oilers. I want you to know that our group of investors
When news of the Oilers' sale to local buyers reaches Glenn Sather and Peter Pucklington in Palm Springs, California, neither seems overjoyed.
It takes money to be competitive in the NHL today. They've struggled to get enough money to be able to buy the team, and now if they're going to give us enough to operate it so that we can be a major league franchise is one thing, but if it's a Band-Aid solution, then It's not going to solve itself because it'll surface again in 3 or 4 years.
Maybe they know too much about what lies ahead.
30 or so. The local group of 15 or 20 people, and with a big bank loan, are going to try and keep hockey in Edmonton. I wish them Godspeed. I hope it works for them all. I do know they're going to have some losses, or they're going to have to cut their payroll to where they might disappoint the fans with a team that might not show up on the ice. So they've got a real dilemma.
Skyrocketing players' salaries, heavy taxes, a declining Canadian dollar. The problems facing the new owners are massive and ongoing. But for now, it's mission accomplished in Edmonton. The Oilers didn't win the cup this year, but they did manage to survive.
Looks for Smith to the slot. Ryan Smith to the